It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Broadcasting from coast to coast.
City to city, coast to coast.
It's time for the Ryan Hickey Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If it's happening in sports, it's being talked about right here. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Good Monday morning. Welcome into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Ryan Hickey Show, as you just heard right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Very excited to be back with you on this gorgeous Monday morning. And I don't know about you, at least for me, spring has finally sprung. We gain an hour with daylight savings time. I know people are upset that you lose an hour of sleep. I am fired up because now the days are longer. It actually feels like the weather is turning. And spring is always synonymous with March Madness, and that is what we finally have. After last year, obviously, as we know, the pandemic put a real wrench in everyone's plans. We have March Madness. We have conference championships that are come and gone, and now we have Selection Sunday in the books. And we have a full field of 68 ready to go. So the sun is out longer. The college basketball, March Madness is ready to go. In my mind, spring has finally sprung. So I'm in a great mood on this Monday. I hope you are too. We appreciate you starting your week with us right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. As a reminder, I'm coming to you live, as we always are, from the Big Italy Pizzeria Studios, where it's great pizza, hot heroes, and phenomenal dinners. Check out Big Italy Pizzeria in person, Medford. Joe's Pizzeria in Bayshore, which my family did on Friday, sponsoring or patronizing the sponsors. Online, wherever you are, at BigItalyPizza.com. So like you mentioned, Selection Sunday was yesterday. We had the field of 68. So now the question is, who is in your Final Four? We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Which four teams will be making it? I would say two Indianapolis, but everyone's already there. So who will be the last four teams standing? Drew Brees officially retires. So now, we'll obviously remember Drew Brees' career, an incredible career. First ballot Hall of Famer. But what is next for the Saints? We will discuss. Nick Saban, speaking of discussing, he was on a podcast last week, and he basically kind of threw out the idea that the college football playoff and bowl games can't coexist. Basically, it's have to be one or the other, because right now, with the way the focus is on the playoff, the other bowl games are marginalized. Well, since now basketball, the postseason is underway, I figured this would be a good time to maybe talk about, should we change the college football postseason? I have an idea. This is going to be a bold statement, because I know, really, we can't agree on anything. I'm looking at the window. It's sunny. I'm sure if I had 10 people here and I said, hey, look, the sun's out, half of the people would say, oh, no, it's not really out. We can't agree on anything. The sky is blue. Someone's always there to say it's not blue. I think, though, I'm going to go on a limb and say I think I have the perfect college football playoff suggestion that everybody would like and enjoy. We'll do that 9:40 Eastern, so just about a half hour from now, the perfect college football playoff format. Top of the second hour, 10 a.m. Eastern. The Packers signed running back Aaron Jones. He's a free agent, signed him to a 4-year deal yesterday. That was announced. To me, this deal is massive, not just because they're returning a good player. It signals something to the fan base. It signals something to the rest of the league. And more importantly, the Packers signaled something to Aaron Rodgers yesterday that I didn't think they were going to do. I'll tell you what that is at 10 a.m. Eastern. 10:20, speaking of NFL free agency, today is the first day of legal tampering allowed in the NFL. So now free agents technically are allowed to talk to teams for the first time. Deals can't be completed officially until Wednesday, but now teams can start talking a 2-day legal tampering period. Has the shine come off the Patriots if you're a free agent? One signing that happened last week, to me, says that answer is yes. I'll explain what that signing was and why. At 10:20 Eastern, so just a little bit over an hour from now. But we will start today's show, the Monday after Conference Championship Week, the day after Selection Sundays in the books, asking you and talking to you about the Final Four. Who do you have in? Who are your teams that will be making the Final Four? 1 seeds, in case you missed it, Gonzaga, number 1 overall seed, Baylor, Illinois, Michigan. Those are the 4 teams with the 1 seeds. Not since 2008 have we had all 4 1 seeds be the last 4 teams standing in the Final Four. So maybe you feel like this is the year where the favorites are going to come through. Maybe you're feeling crazy. Maybe you are looking at a team like VCU, or you're looking at a team like Iona, led by Rick Pitino, going to your Final Four. So I'd love to hear it. Facebook Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Twitter WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter, is where you can get involved. Who are the Final Four teams in your mind that will be standing in a few weeks, battling out for the championship? For me, I'm going sort of chalk here, and here's what I mean. I'm going to take Gonzaga. Shocker. I will take Ohio State. Not terribly surprising considering they're just a 2 seed. I will take Illinois, another 1 seed. Shocker. And I'm going to go Florida State. To me, that's my Final Four. Gonzaga, Ohio State, Illinois, and Florida State. And here's why. Gonzaga, I really shouldn't have to even explain myself with Gonzaga. They are by far the best team in all of college basketball. And I will say this quickly, because I don't know why this thought popped ahead. Maybe because I was already kind of had an idea about the college football playoffs, so I had college football kind of in the back of my brain yesterday watching Selection Sunday. But it just kind of dawned on me, just kind of funny, that we look at Gonzaga, a very well-respected team. Again, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. The number 1 team from wire to wire, the only undefeated team left in college basketball this year. But it's funny because they play in the West Coast Conference. So they play teams like San Francisco, Pepperdine, BYU. Not great competition, not like the Big Ten, ACC in most years, Big 12. But there's no problem respecting a team that has a ton of great talent, has all the wins to show for it, but in terms of strength of schedule and who they play, not the best, not compared to conference play. But it's just so funny. On college basketball, we have no problem giving legitimacy to teams like Gonzaga, but in college football, I was just picturing myself if college football, if Gonzaga was a college football team, would they even make the playoff? With how much conference matters and strength of schedule, I would love to hear, I think that'd be a fun conversation. But anyway, I have Gonzaga going to the Final Four because, honestly, they can do it all. Drew Timme is a beast down low. Jalen Suggs, a stud point guard. And I'm sure even if you haven't watched many Gonzaga games, if you were scrolling on Twitter on Saturday afternoons, on Thursday evenings, you will see a lot of highlights from Gonzaga and specifically Jalen Suggs. This guy can pass, he can shoot, he can do it all, put the team on his back to help Gonzaga get over BYU in the West Coast Conference Championship, preserve that undefeated record. Is BYU really one of the few teams this year to actually give Gonzaga a run for their money. So they can get buckets. Corey Kispert is a walking bucket, if you will. They can do it all. And I'll say this, despite being in the West Coast Conference, they do have some decent wins. Beat Kansas earlier this year, beat West Virginia earlier this year, beat Virginia. So despite playing in a lesser conference, if you will, they have the wins to show for it. They have the talent to show for it. And again, really going out on a limb here with probably 99% of America in picking Gonzaga to go to the Final Four. That's my one team. I will go Ohio State as my other Final Four team because I truly think kind of watching this Big Ten tournament the last few days, being a Big Ten fan myself, I think this could be a springboard. Now, maybe I'm being prisoner of the moment because this kind of happens to me every year, I'll be honest, when Conference Championship week comes out and you're seeing who's playing well, who can carry momentum over. I will admit, a big sucker for momentum. Teams that play well, that have a strong conference tournament showing, I always kind of fall into the trap of saying, you know what? They can carry this momentum over. I think they can make a deep run because look at the way they're playing right now. Now, to be fair, most of the time, maybe that doesn't really go too well, and there's a first round exit, and there goes one of my Final Four teams. But I think Ohio State can truly use this Big Ten tournament run as a springboard. Not only because of the way they've been playing the last few games, but also because I love the way they responded from adversity. This is a team that, yes, they made the Big Ten tournament championship yesterday. They lost to Illinois in overtime. They really pushed them. One of the best teams in the country in the Fighting Illini. Ohio State pushed them to the very end. But this is also a team that lost their last 4 regular season games heading into the conference tournament. Especially in college basketball, we know that can snowball quickly. You can get down, you can start feeling sorry for yourself or start having doubts creep in. And next thing you know, even if you're a good team, your momentum and your confidence is shot and you will lose to lesser teams. So I really like the way that they were able to respond, not just from a regular season that, again, saw them lose 4 straight games. Even yesterday, Big Ten Championship, they were down by 17 early to Illinois. Come back, a strong finish to the first half. Again, every time Illinois kind of got the lead up back to 9, back to 7, went on their own little 5-0 run after Ohio State would go on a big run and cut the lead down, they kept responding. They kept coming back. These are not one of these teams that will just kind of die on the vine, if you will, or feel sorry for themselves and kind of, when things go bad, start blaming others, start feeling sorry for themselves, and kind of collapse. Look at March. This is all about momentum swings and game of runs. Excuse me. I like the way that they can fight through adversity and still keep coming back, still keep punching. I think that's huge when it comes to the tournament. And not to mention, too, another reason why I'm liking Ohio State. Honestly, the bracket to me, where they are, is not that tricky. Arkansas is obviously a test that's going to be tough. Other than that, I'll be honest. I mean, maybe this is, I'm going to call my shot here. I don't think Baylor is going to be making it far. So I don't think Baylor is going to be a team where Ohio State will face in the Elite Eight, which means to me at least the path will be get a little easier. So I'm predicting a Baylor upset early on. I think that helps pave the way for Ohio State to the Final Four. So Gonzaga, Ohio State, 2 of my Final Four teams. The other 2, Illinois. I mean, look at their roster. Look at up and down the team. Easily behind Gonzaga, the second deepest team in all the country. Love. Go really out on a limb here with Ayo Dosunmu's skill set. Guy can do it all. He's just a baller. And you have Kofi Coburn down low. So you got the 1-2 punch. Ayo, Kofi, bang, bang. Huge when it comes to the tournament. They have a great blend of experience, youth. And one thing that really sold me on Illinois, again, really going out on a limb here, a few weeks ago, top 5 matchup on the road at Michigan without their best player in Ayo. Illinois blows Michigan out by 23 points. Blows them out. I think now you kind of see through the tournament as well. When they can put it all together, when everything is clicking, this is one of the best teams in the country. Brad Underwood's a great coach. I think Illinois has all the makings of a team to make a deep run in the tournament. I think they're going to go all the way, even though that they have do have a gauntlet of a bracket. But even with that said, I think the skill will prevail in the end. I think Illinois is going to get it done. And finally, I'm going to go with Florida State for a few reasons here. One, I think their length is going to give a lot of teams problems. It's funny, too, in the tournament because some teams are built for the regular season and struggle in the tournament. Other teams kind of struggle up and down in the regular season, but they have teams that just play well and are built for tournament basketball, and they end up consistently going far. Teams like, to me, West Virginia, with their style, with their aggressive, in-your-face, three-quarter press defense for the whole game, forcing turnovers, hitting threes, their style, to me, when it's clicking, is conducive to tournament basketball because it's different than what most teams have seen throughout the regular season. Same thing with Syracuse with that 2-3 zone, right? There are reasons why even when Syracuse isn't that good, they still make deep runs and are still a tough out because just their style of play is so different than what teams have normally seen in the regular season, it throws them off. It's a curveball. And I think kind of Florida State is similar, not because their style of play, because their length and their size is different than most teams have seen this year. They are long, they are tall, they are physical, and I think that will give a lot of teams headaches and issues in a one-game winner move on, survive and advance style. So I wouldn't say going and picking a 4 seed is exactly going out on a limb, but I will say when you look at recent history, picking an upset does help. Loyola Chicago, if you remember back in 2018, that deep, incredible run to the Final Four. South Carolina went to the Final Four as a 7 seed back in 2017. You have Syracuse as a 10 seed, Michigan State as a 7 seed the previous 2 years before that. It pays to pick a team and ride them deep, and I think to me that's going to be Florida State. So the Seminoles, Fighting Illini, Gonzaga, Ohio State are my 4 Final Four teams. I'm going to go with Illinois as the champion. Number 1 seeds have won the entire tournament 10 out of the last 13 years. To me, Illinois makes 11 out of the last 14. I'm going with the Illini as my champion. Florida State, Illinois, Gonzaga, Ohio State is my Final Four teams. I'm curious your thoughts. The bracket is out. For the first time in 2 years, we are picking upsets. We are picking winners. Who do you think is going to the Final Four? Who is your Final Four in your bracket? Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show also on Twitter. We'll get your March Madness thoughts throughout the entirety of the show. And when we come back, we had some big breaking news yesterday. Surprising a little bit, I will not lie, but Drew Brees is officially retiring. He's officially hanging up as the quarterback of the Saints. So what is next at that position for New Orleans? We will discuss next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome on back into the Ryan Hickey Show, right here with you on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Go until 11 a.m. Eastern, taking your thoughts. The brackets are out, I should say. So we're taking your final four predictions, your final four thoughts. I'm going Illinois, Gonzaga, Florida State, Ohio State. 2 1 seeds, a 2 seed, and a 4 seed. Going out on a limb, I know, real crazy. But this is the year a lot of the big dogs do get it done. I'm going Illinois as my champion. Little Big Ten love there for the Fighting Illini. So I'm curious your thoughts. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter as well. Who is in your Final Four? Who will be the Final Four teams in Indianapolis? And get your thoughts here. Again, Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter as well. Tweet me your thoughts. You can write on Periscope on the live stream right there. You can write on Facebook as well. We'll get your thoughts before we get out of here again in about an hour and a half. I do want to, though, get into some of the big news in the NFL. The big, heavy NFL laden show here going along the rest of the way just because a lot is going on in the National Football League. Free agency, technically now teams and players can start talking and start negotiating deals starting today. Can't officially sign until Wednesday, but today they can officially start talking and actually get some conversations going. But now, at least a team that's going to have to make a decision, especially when it comes to a quarterback in free agency, is going to be the New Orleans Saints, because officially yesterday, 15 years to the exact day when Drew Brees signed with the Saints from free agency coming off his torn labrum with the Chargers, he officially announced his retirement yesterday. He is hanging it up. An incredible 20-year career for Drew Brees. Won a Super Bowl, obviously, in New Orleans, the only Super Bowl in franchise history. He leaves the game as the all-time leader in passing yards, over 80,000 passing yards. He leaves with the second most passing touchdowns, 571. Second in NFL history in completion percentage, 67.7. And incredibly, there's been 12 total seasons of a passer throwing for 5,000 or more yards in NFL history. Drew Brees has 5 of them. Almost half of the 5,000-yard seasons in NFL history is owned by one Drew Brees. An awesome, incredible, very successful career. First ballot Hall of Famer, without a doubt. One of the best to ever do it. And not just really, his impact on the field obviously is tremendous for New Orleans. But what he did coming in 2006, giving the city hope, obviously, especially in 2006, that year when Hurricane Katrina just ravaged the city. Leading this team to a winner right away, coming in, stepping in, boom. There's excitement. Drew Brees leads this team to be one of the most successful franchises under his run in the NFL in the 15 years he was in New Orleans. An awesome, incredible, successful career. So hats off to you, Drew Brees. You deserve all the accolades coming your way. It was I don't want to say a joy, because especially when he was with the Chargers, he really owned the Colts, growing up a Colts fan. And obviously, beat the Colts for his only Super Bowl victory. But it was awesome and a lot of fun to see him throughout his career, only at 6 foot, kind of giving smaller quarterbacks hope, giving them a reason to, or giving them a chance, I should say, to have a chance. And obviously, as we know, the revolution has changed a quarterback, but Drew Brees in part has done that. So give him a lot of credit, a lot of kudos, and congratulations again to you, Drew Brees, for an awesome career, one of the best we've ever seen and probably will see in NFL history. But now moving forward, this is not exactly surprising, right? It's surprising more that it took so long, to be quite honest. I thought this was going to be a few days after the division round loss to the Buccaneers where he would come out and say he's retiring. I didn't think it would happen 2 months later. But, again, it's nice that on the exact date 15 years ago when he signed with the Saints, he announced his retirement from the Saints and from football. So, nice to see. And again, now it's not exactly surprising. We all kind of saw this coming. So now the question is, what is next for New Orleans? If they're not blindsided, they had an idea of what they had to do anyway. But this does leave a void at the QB position in New Orleans. So what should the next move be? Who should the Saints tap to replace Drew Brees in that impossible role, by the way, to try to replace Drew Brees? I envy the guy who's going to do it. But to me, there's only one answer. Makes the most sense. He's on the team last year. Should be on the team again this year. Jameis Winston. Easy. One of the easiest decisions Sean Payton should ever have to make here. Sign Jameis Winston, roll with Jameis Winston. Because honestly, for me, I'm a believer in Jameis. I truly think he can turn his career around in New Orleans. In that offense with Sean Payton, with the structure of the team, I think that to me bodes well and perfect for what Jameis Winston can do. Because obviously, look, he was there last year as a backup. Sometimes even, depending on the day and on the schedule, he'd be almost a third-string quarterback. Because don't forget, Taysom Hill was the guy who, when Drew Brees got hurt for 4 games, Taysom Hill was a starter. More, I think, to see what Taysom Hill actually has rather than a knock on Jameis Winston. But being in that organization, being with the Saints last year, to me, is huge for Jameis going to 2021. Because I think he can learn a lot. You're sitting behind Drew Brees, seeing how one of the best in the NFL to ever do it goes about his work. I think that truly would be a good influence for Jameis. Because you look at it, at Florida State, he came in right away, started, was a star. Goes to Tampa Bay with the number 1 overall pick as the Buccaneers. He is the guy right away. He really hasn't ever taken a backseat before, learned from someone else. I think that year, Drew Brees, again, seeing how Drew's process is, seeing how he attacks game plans, attacks the week, I think that is huge, honestly, for Jameis Winston. If he acted like a sponge, that is, I'm telling you, he can be really, really dangerous this year in part, because hopefully, one of the lessons, if anything, one of the main lessons I hope he learned from that year as a backup to Drew Brees was ball security. Right? I mean, that's the big bugaboo. That's the big knock with Jameis Winston. That's the big concern, is that he turns the ball over and turns it over plenty to the point where it's a big detriment and he hurts the team rather than helps the team. So hopefully if you learn that from Drew Brees, and I will say this, to me, and he is a free agent, so he can sign wherever he wants. It makes the most sense for Jameis Winston to return to New Orleans. It makes the most sense for New Orleans to want Jameis Winston to return and have him be their 2021 starter. Because I truly think Sean Payton is one of the few coaches in the NFL that can coach the interceptions out of Jameis's game. With the way he schemes offense, with the way he is able to get receivers open just based on route running and just drawing up schemes, he can create a lot of easy throws, a lot of open looks for Jameis Winston underneath, down the field, that he wasn't really having in Tampa Bay. I'll say this about Jameis' time, especially 2019, when he threw 33 touchdowns and the infamous 30 interceptions. That last year in Tampa Bay, Bruce Arians enabled Jameis Winston to be reckless. And here's what I mean by that. We know Bruce Arians' philosophy in offense. No risk it, no biscuit. He is all about being aggressive. He's all about pushing the ball down the field. And really, nothing's going to get him off that mentality. So even when Jameis Winston is throwing 2 picks, 3 picks early, when he's come back to the sideline, Bruce Arians there tapping him on the butt, say, all right, let's go back out there and do it again. And they continue to throw the ball down the field, continue to push the ball, and almost really kind of have Jameis Winston not play hero ball per se, but really try to make some incredible throws with his arm, fit into tight windows. And unfortunately, as we know, that led to a lot of turnovers, led to a lot of interceptions, and he set the record with 30 interceptions. So I think now with Sean Payton at the helm, with Sean Payton coaching up Jameis Winston, that's not going to be the case. He's not going to be throwing the ball 45 times a game. And he's not going to be forcing the ball down the field 45 times a game, where it's, home run or bust, if you will, if you're Bruce Arians and the way he thinks on offense. Because every play, Bruce Arians is going for a touchdown. Sean Payton can coach Jameis Winston, I believe, out of those interceptions, create easy throws, easy looks for him, and really let him use that arm talent for good, not for bad. Because that's the thing, too. Let's not forget. Jameis Winston, for all the negativity, or for all the bad in 2019, there was a lot of good, which made it so frustrating. Like, he threw 33 touchdowns in 2019, his last year as a starter with the Buccaneers, led the NFL 5,109 passing yards. We just talked about Drew Brees. 12 seasons, 12 times a quarterback has thrown for over 5,000 yards. Drew Brees has 5 of them. Well, Jameis Winston has one. 5,100 passing yards in 2019, led the NFL. So he has incredible arm talent. But it's all about what? The biggest key is just minimizing those mistakes. And speaking of those mistakes, another reason why I think it will be a benefit to the Saints is because obviously, as we know, they are not in cap hell. They are tied up against the cap, but they are maneuvering and they are making moves already, including, if you saw this yesterday, an incredible 4-year, $140 million contract extension for Taysom Hill. That is all for now. Don't be fooled. That is literally a fake extension to open up some cap space. So give credit to the Saints for their at least creativity to do whatever it takes to get some more cap room, get some more flexibility to try to keep some players and sign guys like Jameis Winston to be their franchise quarterback. So don't be fooled. That's a fake extension only to soften up some more money and basically help lower Taysom Hill's cap number. That 4-year, $140 million contract extension, if you saw it yesterday, pick your jaw up from the ground. Kind of, if your eyes are bugging out wide open thinking, what the hell are we looking at? It is all fake. It's all going to be voided. It all basically gets torn up after the season. But they're doing that to open up some space because they don't want to get outbid for Jameis Winston. I will say this. I do think the mistakes, I do think because the lasting image we have of Jameis Winston, I know he took a few snaps in New Orleans, but he really wasn't playing a lot at all last year. The last memory we have is Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions, and the last play as a starter in the NFL in 2019, the season ended when Jameis Winston threw a pick 6 on the first play of overtime in Week 17. So the last play we saw Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay, the last time we saw him as a starter, the last thing we saw was a pick 6 in overtime to end the game for his 30th interception. I think that will help keep the price down. So at least, New Orleans now has a chance to keep their starter, not get outbid, and have Jameis Winston going forward at a reasonable cost. So, part of the reason why the Jameis Winston deal, the Jameis Winston signing should be a no-brainer for the Saints is because the other quarterback on your roster, Taysom Hill, Sean Payton talked a lot. Man, did he hype up Taysom Hill throughout the last few years. And what happened? We finally got an extended look at Taysom Hill. We finally got to see what Sean Payton sees. And let's be honest, I think everyone came to the same conclusion. Not much there. I don't know what he was doing in practice. I don't know what kind of throws he was making that led Sean Payton continuously to say he believes Taysom Hill could be a franchise quarterback, giving him an extension that sort of was like backup quarterback money for a guy that would only take 5 or 6 snaps a game at quarterback. He'd be the gadget guy. Line up a receiver, running back, sometimes wildcat quarterback, barely would throw the ball. We finally got to see last year what Taysom Hill was about, and he was not about it. 4 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions in 4 games, averages 208 passing yards per game in those 4 starts. And I think Sean Payton quickly realized, man, this guy is either not as good as we thought, or he is so raw, so unpolished that we don't have time to develop him to be the franchise quarterback to the point where, he can start winning us games and start playing like a real quarterback. It's going to take a lot longer than I thought. Don't know which way it is, but I'm telling you, there would be no Jameis Winston rumors if they had confidence and felt strongly in Taysom Hill as their franchise quarterback going forward. So again, I don't know what Sean Payton was looking at. I don't know what he was seeing in practice. But whatever happened in practice did not translate to the game at all. So that's the other thing too. When you look at free agency, when you look at where you are in the draft, Jameis Winston by far is your best buy low and you hope sell high option you have to replace Drew Brees. You're not going to play Taysom Hill for 16 games every snap at quarterback. You're not going to sign someone, Andy Dalton, Mitch Trubisky. You're not signing one of those guys in free agency to come in and replace Drew Brees. There is one guy and one guy only. His name is Jameis Winston. And I do think he can come in and have success and lead the Saints to the playoffs. I think it's going to happen. I think Jameis learned a lot last year sitting on the bench. I think this offense is perfect because Sean Payton is one of the few coaches that can really kind of scheme everything open for Jameis Winston and coach him out of those interceptions. Put him in a position where he is not having to make a bad read, if you will, and try to fit the ball into double and triple coverage, not see a guy underneath and just throw it right to his chest. There is a legitimate chance here for Jameis Winston to have success and have long-term success in New Orleans. I'm fired up and excited to see how he does in New Orleans in 2021. So to me, it's easy. Now that Drew Brees is officially hung it up, he's officially retired, an incredible 20-year run in the NFL, 15 of those coming in New Orleans. Not easy being the guy to replace the guy. I think Jameis Winston has a chance, and I think he will come in there and replace Drew Brees adequately. I'm telling you, playoffs for the Saints next year. I think Jameis Winston will lead the Saints to the playoffs. So I'm curious your thoughts. Do you agree? Should the Saints replace Drew Brees with Jameis Winston? Can Jameis Winston lead the Saints to the playoffs? Can he, I don't want to say re-energize his career, take it back, but can he revive his career? Can he be the guy that we forget is just Mr. Interception? And can he be the guy that is making plays, making winning plays for the Saints going forward? So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is Jameis Winston the guy? Is there someone else that should replace Drew Brees? Is there another quarterback in mind that you think should come down to New Orleans and have success? Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio at Ryan Hickey Show. Also on Twitter as well. So get your thoughts, and when we come back, it is tournament time in basketball. We have the college basketball postseason. Is it time for a college football change in the postseason? Will a big-time, prominent, championship-winning coach believe that answer is yes? I'll tell you why, what he said, and why I have the absolute perfect college football playoff solution when the Ryan Hickey Show returns right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome back into the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll get back to the Jameis Winston conversation in a second. To me, he is the perfect guy going forward to replace Drew Brees. I think he can lead the Saints to the playoffs. So we'll get back to your thoughts about Jameis Winston, who should replace Drew Brees here in a second. But I do want to talk quickly here about college football playoff expansion. I'm going to go on a limb here because this is, I'll say, borderline stupid to say in today's society, in today's age, where we can't agree on literally anything. Sun is shining. People will say, if they're here with me, they say, the sun's not really shining. There's always someone to disagree with. There's always something that really doesn't exactly see it the way everyone else sees it. So it's tough to get agreement on anything, but especially the college football playoff. That is a very polarizing idea. But I do feel confident that I have an idea that everybody would love. Alabama fans, Auburn fans, Ohio State fans, Penn State fans, UCF fans, Cincinnati fans, down the line. Here is this. My solution, my suggestion, a 16-team college football playoff. So expanded from 4 to 16. But here is the kicker. Eliminate every other bowl game. So that's it. The college football playoff consists of the college football postseason, instead of having 40-plus bowl games, is only 8 bowl games. And they are all playoff games. That is it. Top 16 teams get in, and that is the teams that are playing the postseason. That's it. I'm sorry. No more 6-6 bowl games. No more, if there's not enough 6-6, 5-7 teams going to the Bahamas Bowl, going to the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. 16-team playoff and eliminate every other bowl game. Now, where's this coming from? 2 things. 1, it's college basketball postseason time. I love the way the tournament rolls. I think they have the best postseason of college sports for sure. But also, too, this is not just me saying this. I was inspired by the GOAT himself, Nick Saban. So I'll play what Nick Saban had to say. He was on the All Things Covered podcast earlier last week. He was talking about how, in his mind, the college football playoff and bowl games, they can't exist. They can't coexist.
My issue is not expanding the playoff. it's the more you expand the playoff, the less important bowl games become.
Yeah.
Nobody even talks about bowl games now. All they talk about is who's getting into playoffs, who are the 4 teams, and that's it. You don't even hear about, the other games and all that stuff. So if we want to expand the playoffs, that's okay, but I don't think you can have bowl games and do that as well.
So there you go. You hear Nick Saban, and he is right. Bowl games and the college football playoff cannot coexist together. Ever since the playoff was invented and put into place back in 2014, all the other bowl games, even the big ones, even the New Year's Six bowl games, but the ones that aren't the playoff games, they have taken a back seat. They've been marginalized. They have essentially become, if you want to use basketball, terminology here, they become the NIT. To where, sure, is it cool that your team is still playing in the postseason? Yes. But are we going to get fired up over a NIT bid or an NIT win or an NIT championship? No, because the goal is always to make the NCAA tournament, right? I think a lot of teams, a lot of schools, a lot of fans would sign up for an NCAA tournament berth, even if that means losing the first round, compared to an NIT championship. So when you take that in college football terms, would you rather have a Rose Bowl win, a Fiesta Bowl win, a Sun Bowl win, a Gator Bowl, Outback Bowl, whatever bowl you like and maybe you view or used to view as prestigious? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have a college football playoff berth where most likely if you play Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, your team maybe gets slaughtered, but hey, at least you could say you made the playoff? I think a lot of fans would say, I'd rather make the playoff, and if we get slaughtered, we get slaughtered, over making, let's say, the Rose Bowl, but if the Rose Bowl isn't the playoff that year, it's just the Rose Bowl. I think a lot of teams and a lot of fan bases would take the playoff berth over a major bowl victory. So now all of our focus, all of our attention has been on the playoff. And think about it. What do we talk about for college football each and every year, each and every fall? Who is going to make the playoff? We care about the top 4 teams. Do we care about the number 6 team in the country? Do we care about the Pac-12 race of who's going to, be the front runner to make the Rose Bowl? No. Fans don't care about that. Fans want to make the college football playoff. They care about who is making the playoff. Can my team be in the top 4? And that's part of the reason why not a lot of Pac-12 football is talked about of late, because they're usually out of the college football playoff race in the first weeks of the season. But now, as we've seen, the only thing that matters to fans and media alike is who is the top 4 teams, who is making the playoff. So now that even these big-time bowl games, even the Fiesta Bowl, even New Year's Six Bowls that we used to have so much respect for, so much love for, to where if you would, even if you're not the champion, but if you would win the Rose Bowl, if you would win the Peach Bowl or the Sugar Bowl, it was a major accomplishment. It was something that you'd hang a banner with. You would feel like your season was a success. You would feel fired up. If you said before the year, hey, your team's going to win the Rose Bowl, or hey, your team's going to win the Sugar Bowl. Are you a national champion? No. But you're a top 5 team with a major bowl win. Now, not a lot of teams and fan bases, I'm sorry, are going to be signing up for that. It is playoff or bust. So that's why, at least to me, in my mind, a 16-team college football playoff is a win-win for everybody, and here is why. It creates opportunities for everybody to play. Power 5 teams, group of 5 teams, conference champions, non-conference champions. Everyone has a legitimate shot to make the college football playoff. It's not exclusive to where Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and then maybe a Oregon, maybe a Notre Dame, maybe an Auburn or a Georgia can sneak in there. But for the most part, it's the same 2-3 teams every year. You allow accessibility, and you allow legitimately teams to earn their way in. And most importantly, the biggest frustration, personally, in my mind, about only 4 teams of the college football playoff is subjectiveness. Because it was only 4 teams, and it's always easy to kind of hang your hat on the, hey, Clemson, it's Clemson. We know their reputation. We know they're legit. We're going to put them in. Ohio State, now listen, I thought Ohio State deserved to be in the college football playoff this year, playing only 6 games. But there are some teams that played almost double the amount of games Ohio State did, and a lot of the reason Ohio State got in was reputation. Now, look, they beat Clemson. They were deserving of it. And again, I'm sitting here and telling you Ohio State should have been in. But you can make the argument that a lot of the reason for Ohio State getting in was their legacy. But now you take subjectiveness out of the fact because, 16 teams, it's pretty hard. No, even in the tournament, we have bubble snubs, we have teams that were left out that feel upset, that feel betrayed, that feels like they got screwed. So sure, that's going to happen for the 17th team and the 18th team. But the disparity between the 17th and 18th team in a 16-team playoff and, let's say, the number 5 team in a 14 playoff, well, the 5 team is way more deserving of getting in than, let's say, a 17 or 18 ranked team. So you're taking a lot of the subjectiveness out. And the inclusion is massive because think about college football for a second in terms of the landscape of sports. College football is literally the only sport in this great country we have. The only sport where the conference you play in is a determining factor if whether you're out or not. There are teams that start the year in major college football that have 0% shot of making the playoff just because of the conference they're in. UCF, Cincinnati playing in the AAC. You would need Moses to part the Red Sea before they would make the college football playoff. Boise State, Coastal Carolina, BYU. Again, they need Jesus Christ himself to come down on this earth. And then maybe they'll have a chance to make a 14 college football playoff. College football is the only sport where your conference, before the year even starts, before you even play a game, you are eliminated and you basically go into a season with 0 shot to make the playoff, 0 shot to win a championship. So why is that okay? Why should we be having that? 16-team college football playoff allows for the opportunity for legitimately every team to have a shot to make it. Think about it. If we had a 16-team college football playoff last year, you know who's making the playoff? BYU, Coastal Carolina, Indiana, Iowa State, Cincinnati. Those teams are all making it. And deservingly so. Is it really that bad to have Coastal Carolina in the college football playoff? That game against BYU they played earlier this year was one of the best college football games of the year. Because there's 2 top teams going at it. It was a ton of fun. And it was great for the sport. It was. Game day was there. It was awesome exposure. It was an awesome day for the sport of college football. Wouldn't we want that more often? To me, the answer is yes. Now also, I will get ahead of all the detractors, all of those who have the same old canned excuse of why the college football playoff shouldn't expand even to 6 teams, to 8 teams. Well, the games are going to be so bad. The semifinals are so bad. They're all blowouts. Why are we going to have more blowouts? I'm not saying the games would be better. But I give you 2 reasons to push back on there's just going to be more blowouts if the playoff expanded. Number 1, removing all the other bowl games, it gives you less to watch. There's no Pinstripe Bowl. There's no Gasparilla Bowl. There's no Bahamas Bowl. There's no Hawaii Bowl. When the conference championships end that first week in December, there's no other college football until the playoff. There's no 30 bowl games to get you kind of jacked up and ready for the playoff. There is nothing. So the less games there is, the more demand that you cause to watch college football games. Right? We talked about supply and demand the other day on the show when it comes to quarterbacks. Less college football games, less supply will, to me, create more demand. So even though the games, especially early on in the first round, maybe not that exciting, because you haven't seen a lot of college football, it still gets you juiced up, it still gets you jacked up to watch the games, even if some of them turn out to be blowouts. So number 1, again, removing all the other bowl games, again, just to me, makes the playoff games that much more special because there's not a lot of games left to watch. Number 2, let's just look at the NCAA tournament. We watch a ton of bad games early in the tournament, but no one really complains. No one says shrink the NCAA tournament field. No one is saying 68 is too much, let's go to 16 or 32 or something like that. Think about it. This week, we will be watching Gonzaga, the best team in the land, take on either Norfolk State or Appalachian State. We are going to watch Ohio State battle Oral Roberts. Drexel, big bad Drexel, the Dragons, are going to be taking on Illinois. One time in tournament history has a 16 seed beat a 1. And honestly, frankly, a lot of those games haven't even been close. But we still watch. We don't complain. We watch the games. So yeah, if you want to complain about that, maybe, let's say, Coastal Carolina versus Alabama or BYU versus Clemson, maybe that's a blowout. And maybe Indiana, if they played, whoever, Ohio State, maybe that's a blowout as well. But less games, to me, in my mind, just makes it more enjoyable to watch. We watch in college basketball, we will watch in college football. Not to mention, you can create your own March Madness feel in college football. College football, their main day is New Year's Day, right? New Year's 6, usually that's when the college football playoff games are played as well. Well, if you have 16 teams in the playoff, you want to create chaos? You want to create a day where people are watching from sunup to sundown? You can create a March Madness type feel with college football by putting all 8 games on one day. Could you imagine? New Year's Day, you waking up noon to midnight. 8 playoff games in a row, back to back to back to back to back. We always talk about, especially the first 2 days of the tournament being the best 2 days in the sports calendar, because what is it? Game. Upset here. Here's a big-time shot. Here's a crazy play. Another upset here. It is nonstop action from noon to midnight Eastern, Thursday and Friday. And then the games get better as you get along in the tournament. You can have that same March Madness type feel in January and New Year's Day if you're college football. One day, craziness. 8 games in one day. So that way, even if you have a blowout or two, even if Alabama is steamrolling whoever they're playing, well, that's okay because you got 2 other games going on at the same time. Maybe you have an 8-9 matchup that's very close. To me, there is so much good to expanding the playoff and eliminating all the other fluff, all the other, trimming the fat, if you will, that would make a 16-team college football playoff incredibly exciting. And not only, to me, would it help the fans. For those who do love tradition, who do love the Rose Bowl, love the pageantry that comes along with it, loves the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, loves the New Year's Six Bowls. Well, making those playoff games every year, every single one of them, you are restoring the importance to those games. Because my idea, at least, is so you have 8 games. The New Year's 6, you would keep and make those playoff games every single year. So every single year, the Rose Bowl's not going away. The Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowls, those games aren't going away. You keep them in their venues. You keep them where they are. But now that every single one of them is a playoff game. Someone's got to, I guess, talk me down because the more I talk about this, the more I think about it. I am loving this idea, and I don't see who would be opposed to it. To me, it's a win-win. If you're an Alabama fan, it's a win. You're making the playoff anyway, it doesn't really matter. If you're a Auburn fan, well, guess what? Now, because you're going against Alabama every year, now you can lose to Alabama and still have a chance to make the playoff, even if you are one of the best teams. You don't have to see a lesser team that you feel in the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or the ACC make it just because they won their conference and you didn't. If you're a fan of Coastal Carolina, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, Boise State, for the first time, really, in maybe ever, you are important in college football. You matter in college football because you'll have a chance to win a championship, a legitimate championship. You won't be eliminated just because of the teams you play in your schedule. You can go undefeated. You can do everything right, but because of the way we view whatever, the Mountain West Conference or the AAC Conference, or if you're an independent, you can actually be able to get in because of the merits, not just because, that conference sucks, so who cares? Cool, you're undefeated, but they didn't play anybody. That's the same thing. To me, a 16-team college football playoff, expanding it to 16 from 4, eliminating all of the other bowl games. So all that is the college football postseason is just the playoff games. That's it. No other bowl games, just 16 playoff teams. To me, is a win-win for everyone. Helps out the mid-majors, helps out the major programs, Power 5, Group of 5. The fans, you can have January Madness 8 college football playoff games on New Year's Day. Again, who says no? Who says no? Do you like this idea? I'm curious your thoughts. I made a bold proclamation that I think everyone would love this idea. I don't see who would hate it. It caters to everyone. It makes it more enjoyable, makes the experience, makes the day itself, to me, incredible. If you're opposed, if you don't like the idea, Facebook Worldwide Sports Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter as well. So get your thoughts. Should the college football playoff expand? Is a 16-team college football playoff with no other bowl games the perfect format for college football going forward? Kind of mimicking, if you will, a minor March Madness feel, adding that to the football side. So get your thoughts, and when we come back, the Packers signed Aaron Jones. Now, surprising, right? They signed a running back, if you say what you will about, paying running backs. But to me, this move wasn't about Aaron Jones. This move was all about solely Aaron Rodgers. I'll explain why next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome on back into the Ryan Hickey Show, right here with you on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. 1 hour in the books, 1 to go, taking you till 11 a.m. Eastern. March Madness is here. We're talking about the future at quarterback for Jameis Winston. I see a few of you got in on that conversation. We'll circle back. A half hour from now, we'll get back to the Jameis Winston conversation. Should the Saints sign Jameis Winston? What is their next move now that Drew Brees has officially retired? An incredible 20-year career, 15 with the Saints. Where should the Saints look for their next quarterback? We'll get into that in a little bit as well. As a reminder, we're coming to live every hour of every show from the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, and specifically from our Big Italy Pizzeria studios. Whether it's great pizza, hot heroes, and phenomenal dinners, check out Big Italy Pizzeria in person in Medford, Joe's Pizzeria in Bayshore, classic New York pizza joint also in Bayshore, or online wherever you are at BigItalyPizza.com. So some big news as we're getting ready for free agency, right? Today's the first day, the legal tampering period, if you will, of NFL free agency, where legally now free agents are allowed to talk to teams for the first time, talk about deals, talk about contracts, and they can actually start kind of maybe putting some numbers together and start talking deals. They can't be officially signed until Wednesday when the new league year starts, but now you can start talking to teams. One player that we thought was going to be on the free agent market, that we thought was going to be available, was running back Aaron Jones. Incredible really career at the Packers so far through 4 years coming out of UTEP. And he was a guy not franchise tagged by the Packers and kind of assumed that, all right, he's going to be at the door, he's going to go somewhere else. Well, that is not going to be the case, because officially coming down yesterday, as we're getting ready for March Madness and we're getting ready for the brackets to be revealed, the news comes down that Aaron Jones is going nowhere. He is staying right there in Green Bay, signing a 4-year, $48 million contract. Excuse me. Now, this is significant. This is huge. Not because it's about the player, Aaron Jones, or retaining a good running back who can catch the ball well at the backfield, can run the ball well, fits that offense perfectly for what they want to do. This move is significant in my mind because it sends a message to the fans, to the league, and especially Aaron Rodgers, that they are serious and they are committed to him. They are committed to going all in on a Super Bowl to win it with Aaron Rodgers, get him a second ring. They are committed to him being the starting quarterback of the Packers here for maybe longer than all of us expected. So instead of feuding with their franchise quarterback, instead of making a public mockery of discussions and disagreements like the Houston Texans have, like the Seattle Seahawks are currently doing, the Green Bay Packers instead made a move, sent a message to the rest of the league that we are all in on Aaron Rodgers, and that means we are going to deviate from our plan. We're going to sign Aaron Jones because that gives us the best shot to win in 2021. So how do we get here, right? Let's not forget, because even how this discussion started was when Aaron Rodgers, minutes after the NFC title game loss to the Buccaneers, set the world on fire. When he said, quote, "A lot of guys' futures are uncertain, myself included." End quote. The money quote. The bomb, if you will, that Aaron Rodgers dropped. Because now we knew he was unhappy about the Jordan Love pick, right? Packers in need of a wide receiver. Trade up and you think, okay, they're going to trade up to get a wide receiver. Nope. First round, coming off the NFC title game after a 13-3 year, they take a quarterback. So, man, Aaron Rodgers didn't talk about it a lot publicly, but you know inside he was miffed. He was pissed. And the way he can go about it in a peaceful way, if you will, of voicing his displeasure was by dropping hints like he did after the season. He has an MVP year. Everyone in Green Bay is all in. Oh, man, we came so close. Next year is going to be the year. And kind of envisioning at least another run to the Super Bowl. Well, Aaron Rodgers said, you know what? My future, not a guarantee I'll be back next year. I don't know. I got to think about it myself. I got to make sure the Packers are as committed to me as I am to them. Because if you're Aaron Rodgers, again, when you look at the draft, how can you truly think this team is committed to winning when you're still there, you're a franchise legend, and they have kind of one eye on the future, already kind of thinking about what life is like after Aaron Rodgers? That's why they drafted Jordan Love in the first round. And that's why they traded up to draft Jordan Love in the first round, with an eye on the future, with an eye on, hey, Rodgers is going to be probably out sooner rather than later. We need to get a backup plan now. Let's get ahead of it now, so we're not a team, maybe let's say, like the Saints, who are in flux a tiny bit without really a plan when their quarterback eventually either does leave or does retire, or if you're the Patriots when you don't have a plan either when Tom Brady leaves. So, to me at least, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you see the team coming off a 13-3 year 2 years ago, in 2019, go into the draft a quarterback in the first round, draft a running back in the second round. Both of those moves, you can make the argument, the two most solid positions on the team heading into the 2020 season, quarterback and running back. Well, they make draft picks to shore up those areas, if you will, instead of addressing a position of need like wide receiver where they need a second option behind Devonta Adams. And to me especially, that A.J. Dillon pick in the second round, running back out of Boston College, signaled to me, I'm sure signaled to Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the NFL, that Aaron Jones, when his contract runs out after this season, is no longer going to be in Green Bay. He's going to go elsewhere. Right? Running backs, it's hard to get a second contract. It's hard to get paid because it's so easy to find a guy later in the draft and have him have success. Packers, again, were already thinking about what life was like after Aaron Jones. They got A.J. Dillon. So I will say this. Again, that is why this move to re-sign Aaron Jones is so significant. Because I believe this. If Aaron Rodgers didn't say anything after the NFC title game, if he never cast doubt on his future, if he never even dropped a hint or put the thought in the Packers' mind, in the fans' mind, in the media mind, that he could leave, that he could force his way out and try to go somewhere else, I don't think Aaron Jones is returning. I truly don't. They drafted A.J. Dillon. They had a plan. They had a long-term plan. And if you're Brian Gutekunst, the GM, if you're Matt LaFleur, the head coach, you had a plan to try to win now, but you also had your eye on the future. And I think that eye on the future was A.J. Dillon as a future running back, not Aaron Jones, not spending a lot of money to re-sign a running back. But what happened? What changed again? When Aaron Rodgers said those words, my future is uncertain, Green Bay kind of saw themselves in the mirror and said, oh boy, we are in trouble. If this guy leaves, we are screwed. Because our long-term plan had Aaron Rodgers at quarterback for a few years. They drafted Jordan Love not thinking he was going to come in right away and replace Aaron Rodgers. They drafted Jordan Love with the idea of he's going to sit for a while, he's going to learn. He wasn't this guy that ready with, Patrick Mahomes, if you will, to sit for a year and then come in and take over the league. He's a project, he's a development. And for a guy who didn't even dress, by the way, Jordan Love was not even active one game last year. When Aaron Rodgers said those words of my future is uncertain, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be back here in Green Bay, Packers wised up going, oh boy, if he leaves, we can't run Jordan Love out there. He's not ready to be our everyday, every game starting quarterback in 2021. And that would make us look even worse. So what did they do? They realized, you know what? Well, how do we keep Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? How do we keep him happy? We got to go all in on trying to win a Super Bowl in 2021. Because I think it's fair to say the Packers have not done everything they possibly could to win a Super Bowl. They needed a wide receiver in the worst way last year. A wide receiver-rich draft. Didn't draft one wide receiver. Signed one in free agency. Devin Funchess, he opted out. So literally 0 changes to the position that you arguably needed the most help with at receiver last year, especially on the offensive side. Didn't address it at all. They and now at least you see them deviating from their long-term plan because they realize not only does Aaron Rodgers need help, we need help. Because this guy's unhappy. If he forces his way out, we're not ready right now to replace him. We have an idea to replace him in 2 years, but we're not ready to replace him right now. And this is going to make us look very, very bad. So they did, for really one of the few organizations to actually do the right thing. They listened to their quarterback. Hello, Houston, Seattle. Take a note here. Look at what the Packers are doing. They are listening. They are realizing we're not getting any better. We're not coming in here and replacing Aaron Rodgers with someone who is better. There's no upgrade for us. If we want to remain competitive, that's not happening if Aaron Rodgers is elsewhere. If he's in Indianapolis, if he is in New Orleans, if he is in Washington, if he is wherever he gets traded to or wants to end up. That's not happening being competitive, at least in the near future. So they said, you know what? Fine, we have an idea about a long-term plan here. We want to try to have sustained success, but guess what? More importantly right now is Aaron Rodgers' happiness. If he wants Aaron Jones back on the team, if he wants every weapon available to him to win a Super Bowl in 2021, we got to do so. And that is a smart move, and I commend the Packers for doing the right thing. Because there are no dummies. And you know who's also not a dummy? Aaron Rodgers. Because you know what inspired him to kind of take the bull by the horns, if you will, and try to use his leverage to get what he wants? He looked at the other side of the field in the NFC title game and realized what Tom Brady has. Look at what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did for Tom Brady when he came down there, and look how it worked out. They brought Tom down there. They paired him with players he wanted to play with. Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown. They signed Leonard Fournette. They catered the scheme, if you will, to fit Tom Brady's strengths. The Tampa Bay did all in and did whatever possible to not only accentuate Tom Brady's strengths, but put the team in the best position to win the Super Bowl, and it worked. So if you're Green Bay, you're not that far off. Again, 2 consecutive NFC title games. You are right there. Maybe if you had a second receiver, a secondary threat against Tampa Bay, maybe you win that game. But instead, again, the Packers refused to go all in because in their mind, they didn't want to sacrifice the future for the present. And now they are changing their course of action. It is the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do because, again, no one's going to be upset if you win a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers maybe leaves or stays around longer, and maybe Jordan Love, now that plan, looks worse and worse and worse. And sure, it doesn't look good when you draft a running back in the second round last draft and then re-sign a running back you thought was going to be gone. But that's PR that you can live through, because to me, it's worse PR to kind of be rebuilding on the fly, if you will, with a quarterback who wants to win now in Aaron Rodgers, who wants to win a second ring, but you already have one eye in the future with Jordan Love, and you are doing everything possible to have Jordan Love have the most success possible whenever he's a starter, instead of worrying about putting Aaron Rodgers in a place to have success where he can win a Super Bowl and have as much success as a starter in Green Bay. To me, that is how you treat your Hall of Fame franchise quarterback, the way the Packers are doing right now. They had this idea in their head that they're going to do things one way. Aaron Rodgers said, no, I'm trying to win here. I want to win another Super Bowl. If you won't go all in and do whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl, well, guess what? I'm not going to be here playing for you, placating your needs, until you feel Jordan Love is ready to play. I'm taking control of my own destiny. I'll go somewhere where I can win and have success early on. And guess what? The Packers realized what, unfortunately, the Texans and the Seahawks didn't realize. But not only can they can't do any better in terms of replacing their franchise quarterback. Wherever they end up trading Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, if the Packers were in this boat, Aaron Rodgers, they're having success. I'm sorry, you could trade him to whatever team you want. As long as that team goes all in, surrounds Rodgers, Watson, Wilson with the pieces they need to succeed, they will have success. All 3 of those guys are top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. You win with top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL no matter where you go. So yeah, You can trade him if you want, Green Bay. You can kind of feel your oats a little bit and feel in the future. They wised up quick and realized, you know what? Long term, sure. We're going to try to stay competitive. But right now, the most important thing, and maybe what helps us get to our long-term success, is right now trying to win in the short term. Right now, trying to win with Aaron Rodgers, do whatever we can to get him that second ring. Because maybe that on itself will set us up for long-term success with Jordan Love in the future. But kind of going, dipping your foot in the pool, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of, we're going to try to win a Super Bowl, but at the same time, let's start drafting for life after Aaron Rodgers in like 5 years. Let's start getting that team ready for Jordan Love. Let's start making sure Jordan Love, when he is our quarterback next year in 2 years, he is ready to play. Packers are finally doing the right thing and realizing Aaron Rodgers is our plan right now. The short term is more important right now than the long term, and they are deviating from that plan. And that is why, to me, that's why the Aaron Jones signing is so significant. No one thought he was coming back. As soon as they drafted A.J. Dillon, I thought he was dead and gone. Aaron Jones' days were numbered. But instead, again, this signing to me signals the Packers are trying to show Aaron Rodgers they will do whatever it takes to have him win a second Super Bowl. We are here for you, Aaron. We hear what you said. It scared the hell out of us when we thought about our future in 2021 without you on the team. We need you. Not only for our short-term success, but maybe for our long-term success, because we don't want to put Jordan Love out on the field too early. We think you're a good mentor for Love and can really get the best out of him. So how can we keep you around, keep you happy longer? Okay, fine. You want us to go all in? We'll sign Aaron Jones. We'll rip up our short-term or our long-term plan at running back. We'll keep A.J. Dillon on the shelf. When you sign Aaron Jones, maybe in free agency we'll get you another wide receiver that you can have a weapon with. Maybe we'll shore up the offensive line a little as Corey Linsley, their centers now on the free agent market. We will do whatever it takes to try to get back to the Super Bowl and win you number 2. It's best for our short-term success to win a Super Bowl. It's best for our long-term success to try to win you a Super Bowl right now. That's, to me, what the Packers signaled. They signaled to Aaron Rodgers, we are all in. Super Bowl or bust in 2021. It was not the case in 2020. It was not the case in 2019 because they had a backup plan in their mind already going forward of what the future is going to look like. That future got very bleak and very dark when it did not include Aaron Rodgers in their immediate plans. So good for that. I respect the hell out of the Packers. I honestly, this signing alone changed my view of how I view Green Bay in 2021. I thought there's really only 2 contenders in the NFC. I thought it was going to be the Buccaneers, obviously, and I really like the Rams with Matthew Stafford going there. Maybe we'll see if Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson get traded to an NFC team, how that looks. But I did not think there was a lot of contenders going forward in the NFC in 2021. I didn't put the Packers in there because I thought they kind of reached their ceiling. And again, when they are already looking towards the long term and sort of in on the short term, but not too much, I didn't really buy what they were doing. But I have changed my tune. Packers are all in, and I view them as legitimate, contenders going forward because of this move to re-sign Aaron Jones. So I'm curious your thoughts. Do you like this move? Do you like this idea of the Packers maybe ripping up their long-term future in order to satisfy Aaron Rodgers to try to win a second Super Bowl with Rodgers at helm at quarterback? Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter as well. Is this a smart move to re-sign a running back? Is this a smart move to go all in for Aaron Rodgers? Try to give him a chance to win a second ring. We'll get your thoughts. And when we come back, we'll circle back to Jameis Winston in a little bit here. But when we come back, speaking of free agency, because it is starting really today, if you're a free agent, would you go to New England? Is the shine off the Patriots? One signing to me that happened last week in New England signals why that answer is yes. I'll tell you the signing when we return. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
We are back here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, taking you till 11 a.m. Eastern, as we do every Monday and every Thursday right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Make sure to download the app, WWSRN if you have an iPhone, Worldwide Sports Network on Android. Follow us on Twitter, WWSRN_radio. Like us on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're on Twitch, same thing as Twitter, WWSRN_radio. YouTube, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We are all over the social media map. Like us, follow us, download the app. That way we can stay up to date with every single show on this network. A ton of great shows, a lot of talent on this network, up and down, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, morning, afternoon, nights. Especially with March Madness now, a ton of gambling shows on the weekend and at night. Ton of incredibly talented people working here. So make sure you stay up to date with it. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. That way you can stay up to date and most importantly, download the app so that way you stay in tune with all the articles, with all the shows written and produced right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So with free agency starting today in the NFL, I want to ask you this question. Is the shine coming off Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots? Because one signing that happened last week kind of had me thinking, yeah, man, the Patriots don't have that draw like they used to have. I think that could signal trouble going forward. And that is the fact that last Friday came down that the Patriots agreed to a one-year deal with Cam Newton. Up to $14 million in incentives. Basically, if they win the Super Bowl, he'll see all $14 million. If not very incentive-laden, I think it's about $6 million or so that he can most likely get for Cam Newton. But seeing the Cam Newton selection now, even in my mind, didn't hate it because I kind of thought that was the only option for the Patriots. With that said, though, shouldn't we be looking at the only option that New England had at quarterback for a team that had desperate need at quarterback? Shouldn't that be concerning? Shouldn't we be looking at Cam Newton basically being the only plan that the Patriots have coming off what happened last year and saying, something doesn't really jive there. Something's wrong to where if the Patriots are having to settle for a quarterback. I think it's concerning that no one wanted to go there. We had some quarterback movement. Matthew Stafford was traded. Carson Wentz was traded. We have obviously some teams on the block, some people, potential trades on the block. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, neither of whom signaled they want to go to New England. So now that we're in free agency, now that really, especially when you look at the Patriots offense, they are bereft of talent. They need playmakers, especially at the skill positions, in the worst way possible. If you're a free agent, why would you want to go to New England? Why? I can't really see any answer as to why the answer should be yes. And that, to me, herein lies the concern of the Patriots moving forward. I was a defender of Bill Belichick. I'm not even really calling out Bill Belichick's coaching acumen, that's for sure. And I really thought when Tom Brady left, that was the best thing for New England. Because with him there, they would have made the playoffs. Yeah, would they be a threat? No, I think it would have been a lot like 2019. You're just kind of almost delaying the inevitable that is going to happen where the Patriots have to rebuild and have to kind of tear things down in order to build it back up. But if you're now in New England going forward in 2021, you're still trying to win. They haven't really signaled that they're going to enter in a rebuild. So if you're trying to win and you need talent on offense, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you are a receiver like Kenny Galladay, if you are a tight end like Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith, or if you're Juju Smith-Schuster, you are on the free agent market and you are an obvious need for the Patriots. Why would you want to go to New England? I can't really think of an answer why. Now, it's interesting. Mike Reese of ESPN, very talented Patriots reporter. When Cam Newton signed on Friday, he wrote that signing is huge for the Patriots because he can help bring free agents to New England. Now, the Patriots signed this deal strategically before free agency started, so that way you have a quarterback in place so you can try to court Kenny Galladay. You can try to convince Juju Smith-Schuster or Hunter Henry, hey, come to New England. Look, we got a quarterback here that can get you the ball. That'll be fun to play with. We got, an opportunity for you to really ball out here in New England. I mean, I'll say this. If the Patriots are relying on Cam Newton to bring in wide receiver talent, to bring in tight end talent, to bring in playmaking talent, if you are selling Cam Newton as, hey, look, we got a great playmaker quarterback, come play with Cam, Patriots are worse off than I thought. They are way worse off than I thought. Because let's look at what happened last year with Cam Newton as the quarterback for the Patriots. Ton of rushing touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns for sure, 8 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He averaged 177 passing yards per game, which was the lowest of any qualified quarterback. So if you're a pass catcher, if you're a playmaker, why would you want to go play with that? Why? Even if you believe Cam Newton, to where when he was on an I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall, Chad Ochocinco, Fred Taylor, he truly believed that if he returned to New England in 2021, because he was there in 2020, because he now understands the offense, how it's supposed to be run, he's familiar with the system, he believed 2021 would be a lot better than 2020. I have my doubts. Watching him physically, he just did not look right. He did not look smooth. He did not look strong. His arm looked weak. It wasn't that he was confused with the coverage. A lot of it was just, he just wasn't good. So even if you do believe that he can have a bounce back year, he'll be better in 2021 than he was in 2020. What does that look like? Does that look like 30 touchdowns and 10 interceptions? Does that look like a high-flying Patriots offense when it was just the complete antithesis of that in 2020? There's something too. I don't really see Cam getting that much better. Blame COVID. Blame coming in late when he was signed in late June. There's a ton of excuses, or I think it was even late July. I think it's even later than June. Ton of excuses as to why Cam Newton struggled in New England in 2020. I get that. A lot of factors were out of his control, including lack of talent there to throw the ball to, lack of receivers that really gave him, a go-to threat, if you will. But with that said, if you truly are trying to sell Cam Newton a rebirth to bring free agents to the team, New England is in big, big, big trouble. For 2 reasons. Number one, relying on players, especially trying to rely on Cam Newton to bring talent in here like we just talked about. Cam is not good. Cam is not, I'm sorry, I'll say this. I don't view Cam Newton as the 2015, 2013, 2010 version or 2011 version of Cam Newton. When he was Superman, when he was the league MVP in 2015. Now in 2021, Cam is a shell of himself. He's not a guy, to me, in my mind, that players want to go play with. Why would you want to go there? I think players do that. I think the Patriots are lost if you think Cam Newton still kind of gets players going, still is a magnet, if you will, that attracts talent around him. I don't see that. It didn't happen in 2020. Maybe it's a little late. You want to blame that? Fine. I don't see it happening in 2021. But here's the other concern. Here's the other thing. The Patriots relying on players instead of the Patriot way, instead of the Patriot brand to bring free agents in here is very concerning because now I do think the shine is off in New England. The 6 Super Bowl victories, the 9 Super Bowl appearances. Players used to flock to New England, take discount after discount to play with Tom Brady, to play with Bill Belichick, to be in a position to win championships. Right? I mean, to be fair, any organization that has success, you have ring chasers, you have people that want to play with greatness. That's going to happen for whatever team. We're seeing it right now happen in Tampa Bay. But we've heard the Patriot way. We've heard of players wanting to play for Bill Belichick in New England and be coached hard, go have success, go try to win a title. Well, it's not like both of those guys have left. Tom Brady's left, and he is a big reason for the Patriot way. I will give them that. And I do think the player sets more of the tone than the coaches because the coach will coach everyone hard. But as we see now, when disgruntlement happens, players turn on their coach like that. The coach loses the locker room real quick if respected veterans, if respected players aren't in tune with what the coach is doing. So Tom Brady for 20 years, taking the criticism, taking the chew-outs that Bill Belichick would yell at him about over mistakes, taking it, learning from it, not taking it personally, and being treated like anyone else helps set the tone for the rest of the team. Because if Tom Brady's taking criticism, if Tom Brady's out there getting yelled at by coaches, who are you to push back or get upset if Bill Belichick's yelling at you if you're a third-string receiver, or even if you're a number 1 receiver? Tom Brady's one of the best to ever do it. If he can take criticism, if he can get coached hard, so can you. To me, that is what the Patriot way was all about. Yes, Bill Belichick was a disciplinarian. He was about details. He's about attention to details. Do your job, as he always would say, right? Keep it simple. But a lot of that was facilitated. A lot of that happened because Tom Brady accepted the hard coaching. He set the tone and sent the message for the rest of the players on the team. So now that he leaves, he goes to Tampa Bay. But Bill Belichick's still there. His coaching style didn't change. He's not 10 years removed from a Super Bowl. He's not John Gruden. We were still talking about a Super Bowl 20 years ago and trying to hold on to that shine. But really, when you look at his past records since then with Tampa Bay and now in Las Vegas, he hasn't done anything but win, anything but have success. And Bill Belichick won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. 3 years ago, 2018. The success is still extremely recent where no one forgot about it. But with that said, that is still not enough of a pull, not enough of a magnet to get free agents to New England. So that's why, to me, the Cam Newton signing is troubling. And I think it's going to set the tone for free agency here for New England. They have a ton of money to spend, second most cap room in the NFL. They surpassed a few teams because of some of the moves they made, some of the trades they made. They have about $58 million in free agency, in money to spend in free agency, excuse me. I think this Cam Newton signing sets the tone for the Patriots going forward with free agency, and it's a tone of settling. Settling. That's what the Patriots did. Cam settled on the Patriots because he had nowhere else to go. The Patriots settled on Cam because they had no other option to look at to go with. So I don't see how this gets any better, how talent is all of a sudden going to be drifting to New England. Players are going to go want to play for Belichick, for Cam Newton of all people. Because now for the first time in a long time, Bill Belichick has to convince players to come to New England instead of vice versa. Instead of players making their pitch to the Patriots why you should sign them, Bill is having to make his pitch as to why you should come play for us in New England. That is worrisome. That is troubling. And I was someone who thought when Tom Brady left, all right, the Patriots are going to be back. They'll be down for 1 year. But when you look at the draft picks, when you look at the cap space, 2021 was going to be the year for them because they had everything freed up and they can make some moves. But now the more I look at it, I don't see success happening because I think the shine is off in New England. I think the allure, I think the championship pedigree, I think the championship mindset of how other teams view New England is lost. Tom Brady going down to Tampa Bay and winning a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, sure, it's obviously awesome, and maybe it hurts because, you want to maybe say if you're a Bill Belichick fan that Bill Belichick is more important to the Patriots than Tom Brady was. Obviously, it hurts. I think that Super Bowl victory is going to impact the Patriots and their free agency longer than you would think. I think that Super Bowl victory, Tom Brady leaving, going elsewhere, and having success, more success, if you will, or equal success to what he had in New England, but having fun, doing it in a way that wasn't hell, if you will. Having Rob Gronkowski go down to Tampa Bay, talk about how, he didn't want to go play for the Patriots again because he didn't want to basically, have a hellish lifestyle or basically be in jail, if you will, during the season. Players are realizing that, hey, the shine is off New England. You can go elsewhere, have fun, have a little bit more relaxed, and still win. And that is the worst thing if you're a Patriots fan to hear. Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl, to me, signals that the Patriots' run is over. Because I don't see good players coming to New England now. I don't. I think the shine is off in New England. I think that is very concerning, not only going forward in free agency, going forward now here in the next few years. Settling for Cam Newton, not getting an upgrade, not having players even want to go to New England, to me, in my mind, is not a good sign at all for the future of the Patriots. So I'm curious your thoughts. Did the Patriots settle when it came to Cam Newton? Is their shine, is their luster, if you will, lost? If you're a free agent, would you want to go play for Bill Belichick in New England? Is the shine still there for you where you want to play for Bill, you would sign with New England if you had the chance? Or you going elsewhere? Going to go play somewhere else, try to have a chance to win the title. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio. Add Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter as well. We'll come back. We'll circle back around. Drew Brees retired. Big news of the weekend. What is next for the Saints? We do have one suggestion I want to read you from Twitter. We'll get you my thoughts as well. It is the Ryan Hickey Show till 11 a.m. Eastern right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome on back into the Ryan Hickey Show, taking you till 11 a.m. Eastern. Top of the hour, a few more minutes here on this gorgeous Monday morning. We appreciate you making us a part of your Monday morning. Hopefully you do so every Monday, every Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here. Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Worldwide Sports Radio Network is the spot where you can find us every Monday, every Thursday. But don't worry, the shows don't stop just after this one. A ton of great talent, a ton of great shows every single day throughout the network. So make sure you're liking us, following us, downloading the app, and you can stay up to date and in tune with everything going on with the holy cow, it's only I worked there, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So Drew Brees, we talked about this earlier in the show. I want to kind of circle back in case you missed it. So as you know, the big news, or one of the biggest storylines, I should say, it was really a packed weekend for middle of March, if you will. You had the tournament, Selection Sunday. Aaron Jones with free agency signed with the Packers, free agency starting the NFL. And Drew Brees, long-awaited announcement that he will retire. He is hanging it up finally after 20 years in the NFL. 15 years with the Saints. On the exact day, actually 15 years ago, he signed with the Saints. He announces his retirement, that he will no longer be the Saints quarterback. He is retiring from football for good. So, obviously, an incredibly talented, successful career for Drew Brees. But where do the Saints go from now? Because this is not exactly unexpected. The only thing really unexpected is that it took so long. I thought this was going to be a situation where, maybe a week later, he would announce his retirement after the NFC divisional round game loss to the Buccaneers. Foregone conclusion, really, especially all the reports leading up to even that game, but even leading up to when Drew Brees announced to return for the 2020 season, a lot of it was, he's going to be done after 1 year. He's not going to be returning. 2020 is the last go-around, if you will, for Drew Brees in New Orleans. So now that it's really not unexpected, now that really the inevitable has happened and Drew Brees has retired, what is the next move for the Saints? Where should they go? Where should they look for their quarterback for 2021 and beyond? My answer for them, sort of already on the roster, he was at least last year, and that is Jameis Winston. Free agent quarterback, was there as a backup to Drew Brees for 1 year, made very little money. But to me, it makes so much sense for the Saints to want Drew Brees. It makes so much sense for Jameis Winston to want the Saints. I think this deal is going to happen. I think Jameis Winston will be the Saints quarterback for 2021 and beyond. So here's why it makes sense for the Saints. So you have a guy on your roster last year that knows the offense, that knows the players, that knows his scheme, and was able to learn under one of the all-time greats in Drew Brees. Because let's be honest, I think Jameis Winston, he has a lot of talent, especially arm talent. He had more arm talent now than Drew Brees. You can make the argument he had more arm talent than Drew Brees ever had in his career. The issue for Jameis Winston, though, was the turnovers, especially the interceptions. So now you get to at least sit behind Drew Brees for a year, learn his habits, learn about, how about this, ball security? Something that's not exactly a strong suit of Jameis Winston. So you get to learn valuable or really invaluable lessons from an all-time legendary quarterback. Sean Payton at least knows what he has because you got to see him in practice every single day. So you're aware of the strengths. You're aware of what works well for Jameis Winston. You're aware of how he is as a quarterback. So it's, again, this offseason is not about transitioning. This offseason, at least you have someone in the building that is familiar with the players, familiar with the playbook, and there is some continuity there that otherwise you wouldn't have when a franchise quarterback leaves, retires, goes elsewhere, etc. So that continuity is huge going forward. Not to mention, if you're Jameis Winston, to me, you are free agent, so you can go wherever you want. Even if the money is better elsewhere, even if the Bears want to overpay you, even if Washington football team wants to give you a massive payday, to me it makes the most sense for you to stay in New Orleans because I think that is the best spot for you to rejuvenate and revive your career. Jameis, we talked about, has a ton of talent. The issue for Jameis is the turnovers and the decision-making. Well, why I think New Orleans is the perfect spot for him, because Sean Payton is one of the few coaches in my mind that can coach those mistakes out of Jameis's game. Let's go back to 2019 when he was in Tampa Bay. Right, what happened? He threw, as we know, holy cow, he was the first quarterback to ever, well, he really, forget joined, he created the 30-30 club in the NFL. Usually that's reserved for baseball with stolen bases and home runs. or really I think doubles and home runs, whatever it is, the 30-30 club. That is not the case in the NFL. That 30 for 30 club or 30-30 club, it never existed because no quarterback has ever thrown 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Enter Jameis Winston. But the thing about the 30 interceptions is that Bruce Arians, to a point, almost enabled Jameis Winston. Bruce Arians, very aggressive. He wants to push the ball down the field, attack on offense. So when Jameis Winston is throwing in an interception, 2 picks, 3 picks, he's not getting benched. He's not getting told to rein it in. Bruce Arians saying, all right, let's go back out there and go get him. Let's keep throwing the ball down the field. You know, you just threw an interception on this post route. We're going to throw the post again, and you're going to hit it this time. The only issue is, half the time Jameis Winston threw another interception. So, at least with the way Sean Payton designs, schemes offenses, there's going to be a lot of easy looks, a lot of easy throws for Jameis Winston to just get the ball out of his hand, get the ball to playmakers in space, and let them do the work. So I think he can highlight the arm talent that Jameis Winston has. And for the first time in a few years, let's call for what it is, Sean Payton will have a strong-armed quarterback, that he can push the ball down the field and be aggressive when he wants, but also take the underneath route, take what the defense gives him, and let Alvin Kamara run in space. Let Michael Thomas run in space and get open. So to me, it's a perfect marriage for Jameis Winston and Sean Payton for the Saints to want Winston, for the Winston to want the Saints. Because sure, you probably, with the way that the Saints are strained against the cap a little bit, you can get better money elsewhere. But for me, and I'm just talking me personally, if I was Jameis Winston, I would rather go to a place I know I'll have success, maybe sign a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal. Have success and get a bigger payday than just taking the money up front, going to Washington, going to Chicago, where quarterback dreams, especially if you're in Chicago, go to die. I mean, forget it. You go to Chicago, that's the last payday Jameis Winston will ever get. Because, man, they're going to ruin you and screw you over. So I think staying in New Orleans is the best bet for Jameis Winston to help revive his career, be the best spot for him to have success. Still a talented team. Still a team that can make the playoffs. Obviously, trying to be the guy to replace the guy is never easy. You know, trying to step in here for a franchise legend. But at the same time, again, being around the team for a year, I think helps, get you familiar to the fan base, to the players, to the coaches, and I think helps, again, propel your success going forward. So we had a few thoughts. If you want to get in here before we get on out of here, Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show as well if you want to chime in. Who should the Saints sign to be their quarterback? Is it Taysom Hill? Guy right on the roster. Explain why I think Taysom Hill shouldn't be the guy in a second here, but my guy, Johnny Reyes, love you, Johnny. He was watching on Periscope. He chimes in. What if Jameis can make more money in free agency and start immediately? And he wrote, even as a bridge quarterback. Because he's right. And there's a chance, and probably I would say likely more than not, that Jameis could go elsewhere. Even if he's there, like he said, a bridge quarterback, be a Teddy Bridgewater type, if you will, when he went down to Carolina, signed a 3-year deal, over $60 million. So Teddy Bridgewater got a nice payday, leaving New Orleans, going to Carolina. So even if he wants to be a bridge quarterback, he can get maybe a better deal than he would in New Orleans to be the starting quarterback. Here's what, to me, the answer is still, I wouldn't do it if I'm Jameis. Again, one, Teddy Bridgewater got a nice payday, absolutely. But now, 1 year in, as we see, they're already looking to replace it, and most likely, I think it's already basically a done deal that Teddy Bridgewater won't be the starting quarterback in Carolina. Maybe he'll be the backup. But if Teddy Bridgewater wants to be the starting quarterback, I don't think it's going to be in Carolina because either they're going to try to trade for Deshaun Watson, or at number 8, they'll try to draft a quarterback. They've seen enough from Teddy Bridgewater, don't think the ceiling is that high, going to try to go elsewhere. So again, Jameis can go to Chicago. He can go to Washington. He can go to, the Patriots sort of, but with Cam, I don't think that's going to happen. But let's just say, for argument's sake, he can go to New England if they're still looking to get another quarterback. There are options for you to go. There are homes for you to land where you can be the starting quarterback. My thing is, though, just with the way Jameis has a propensity to turn the ball over, I truly think the offensive setup in New Orleans sets him up the best to have some long-term success. And if you're Jameis Winston, I would probably try to look at the long term here than the short term. Sure, you can get a big payday going to Washington where they're desperate for a quarterback. Maybe you can try to step in there and lead them to the playoffs. But if the offense isn't to your liking, or if it's not conducive to success, sure, you'll get a nice payday up front, but that will be the last payday you get. To where if you sign New Orleans, you have success, even if you sign a short-term deal, you can get back in the market, get a bigger deal, or you can still get a bigger deal and just stay in New Orleans when the cap opens up a little more and they have a little more financial flexibility. That's why, to me at least, The Saints put Jameis Winston in the best position to succeed and have success as a quarterback. That's what, at least to me, it should be about. Can you have success? Can you be put in a position to succeed? I feel like that we talk about that ad nauseum. Being put in a position to succeed. Why do I bring it up so much? Because it sounds obvious, but it rarely does happen. So many times, either teams don't put the right pieces around their quarterback, don't have the right offense in place for their quarterback skill set, don't care, don't realize it. There are so many times when players have to do more than expected, maybe do more than they're asked, because the team is not doing the best they possibly can to give them a chance to succeed, to put them in the best position to succeed. So if I'm Jameis Winston, I want to be, my main goal should be, who can put me in the best position to succeed? Who can put me in the best chance to prove why I was a number one pick back in 2015? I think that is the Saints. That's why, to me, the Saints and New Orleans are the perfect marriage for both. You get a low cost and a high upside if you're in New Orleans with your next quarterback, to where he has a ton of talent. It's just about coaching the mistakes out of his game. I think Sean Payton's the right coach to do that. If you're Jameis Winston, take a smaller pay cut now or payday now. I think, especially when the league opens back up again and the cap goes up and the money's coming in, I think you could set yourself up for a year, 2 years, 3 years. If you sign with New Orleans short term, to show what you got, I think they'll have a lot of success. I think he will lead the Saints to the playoffs in 2021. I'm that much a believer in Jameis Winston, where I think he'll have a lot of success early on here, and then get kind of rehab your image, if you will, get back in the market, and drive your own price up because of how you played. So I hear Johnny. I love Johnny. And he brings up a good point. Again, as a free agent, he can go wherever he wants. To me, that makes the most sense in New Orleans. And again, if you're in New Orleans, would you rather have Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill? 4 games, I think, is enough to see that Taysom Hill is not going to be the guy. No thanks. Not for 16 games. So I will roll with Jameis Winston. To me, that's why it's a win-win for Jameis and the Saints if they both return and he is a starting quarterback in New Orleans in 2021. So that'll do it for this edition of the Ryan Hickey Show. Really appreciate all of you tuned in throughout this Monday, making us a part of your Monday, really starting us the week off, hopefully, on a fun and entertaining note. A lot of fun, a lot of stuff to talk about. Enjoy NFL free agency. March Madness, we're going to have some real games, although there's always something. Don't forget, the schedule will change. We'll have the first 4 on Thursday. March Madness doesn't actually officially start until Friday. Everything gets pushed back a day this year. I think that caused a lot of confusion yesterday as well, I saw on Twitter. So don't know why that's the case, but don't forget that Thursday show, when we do it, at least we won't be getting you ready for all the games. But anyway, it's coming. It is close, and it's good. It's going to be a lot of fun. Nice to have March Madness back for sure. So I'll do it again for this edition of the Ryan Hickey Show on this Monday. Appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe as always. Stay sane. And we'll talk to you on Thursday morning right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.